Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Shaliga, and right now, celebrating our VGA 6th birthday, we've got Kimberly Keeton, and she's going to be talking about the southern migration of the Keeton and is it Chafer family?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead, Kimberly.
Good morning, everybody from the great state of Texas. First, I want to say yes, I'm still in my nightgown. I rolled out of bed. I think this is very interesting that I was not asked, but volunteered to do this, being that I'm working on my dissertation at the University of North Texas, and I'm asking this research question about why African American people do not archive their history. Hint, hint. And here we are this morning. So I really didn't put together, a presentation because my mind is not there right now. So what I wanted to do was just share this gift that was given to me with you. So, and just to let you know, thank you, whoever just said congratulations, because I will graduate in August. Okay. Anyway, so how did this come about? The southern migration of the Keaton and Chafer family. In 2011, I remember I was in Houston, Texas, and I was in my townhome, which I had turned into a gallery downstairs, and upstairs, me and my dog, we chilled out and, did what we did. So me and my aunt, my favorite aunt, we always talked every day. Like every single day, I had to hear from my auntie Faye, like beastie, friend, mom, like the best aunt in the entire world. And I remember we were just talking on the phone and I don't know, she just started talking about history. And I just took out a sheet of paper with a little notepad, and I'm just taking out my pen and I'm just starting to write down all these things, just like writing. And I had did a little bit of genealogy, but it just seemed like that night, which started like at 8 p.m. and didn't end until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm so serious. Like I could not believe that my aunt had shared so much history with me in such a short amount of time. Over time, I heard, stories from my grandmother, my mom, but never those intricate details that I needed to know about where I came from. So after my aunt shared this information with me, I started doing my own searches. And so thereafter, I would say I started connecting dots. And I'll just give you, a little bit of one of those moments. So there was one time when I was looking at a death certificate and it had the name Stella Wells on it, like the person who signed off on the death certificate. And her mother, Stella's mother, now follow me, Stella's mother was the first cousin of my grandmother, but I didn't know this at the time, right? So I'm looking at this form. Now, mind you, I'm an African American librarian. I'm an art librarian by trade. I am an archivist certified, as well as at this time, I was the African American community archivist and librarian for the city of Houston, 2019 to 2021. So when I moved to Austin from Missouri, I I decided to go, to the Austin History Center, and I look in the directories. And so lo and behold, I see Stella's name. And something was just like, when you get home, do a little bit more investigating. So I put her name in Google, just put it in Google. And this I think this story for me is like happenstance. And that's what I'm trying to give you this morning. So, I go home, I'm typing her name in, and it was like, God, I swear. And I tell all of my clients this as it pertains to genealogy. You cannot get anywhere without the spirit being, in my humble opinion, in this process, because I didn't create myself. So I'm praying. I'm like, okay, Lord, how do I go about this? So lowly and behold, and it just seems like sometimes magic just happens. Her phone number just appeared out of nowhere. So I call and, you know, I asked the person on the phone, I'm like, is Stella Wells there? Yes, she's here, but she's in the bed and I'm here, her caretaker. And I'm like, okay. So find out, when I can talk to her again. We set up a time to talk. Um, I go by her home in East Austin, which is a historic African American community in Austin, Texas, East Austin. And I'm sitting outside her house and I'm nervous and I'm shaking and I'm like, okay, who am I about to meet from my grandmother's history? Okay. Because we're talking about like the 1800s, like late 1800s, going into the 19th century, all the way to where we are now. Okay. So, I do the mathematics, and she's 98 years old at this time. And I go up to her door, knock on the door. The caretaker didn't want to let me in, but Stella heard my voice and she was like, let Kim in. I'll never forget this. And I walk, and this is right when I arrived in the city, trying to figure out how I was going to archive African American people's history who are no longer there, where it's gentrified. Okay, I go into the back room, and there she is with all of this hair that's like it looked like snow. Her hair was so beautiful, it looked like snow. And I just looked at her and I immediately started crying because my grandmother had passed already. My grandmother passed like in the early 2000s, right when I was getting my first degree. And I just looked at her because I felt like I thought I saw my grandmother because they looked identical. So I will always remember this moment. She said, you finally made it. And I was just like, what? Oh my God. I had felt like in that moment, all of the work that I had did in Missouri, though I wasn't in Texas, because I started my librarian career in Missouri in Jefferson City, Missouri. I felt like all of the work that I did, everything that my aunt had gave me, came to this culminating moment. And it was like the spirit was telling me, keep going, job well done for all the work that you have done. And I had started the website in Missouri. I was working at Lincoln University as a faculty librarian. And in my spare time, the things that my aunt gave me, I created this site, which you hopefully, if you are at a computer right now, can click on the different links and you can see all of the work that I've done thus far. And I have so much more to do. I will say that I've found at least 6 generations on both sides. I found pretty much everyone post 1865, when African Americans were free in this country per legislation signed by Lincoln. However, in Texas, it was late for us. So, that's a couple of years later after that. But through this journey, I've met so many different people. I haven't got to meet all of my cousins and everyone that I've met, but like during COVID, we had I just got to talk to so many different people and meet them on Zoom, which was so cool. And what does that mean for me today? As a librarian, as a historian, as an archivist, as someone who is sharing a brief moment in time with you today, and who is now writing a dissertation about the same type of work. It's like hindsight, how life works. If you just listen and have a want to know more about yourself, regardless of race, because at the end of the day, once you see these stories, somehow we always connect to someone else that we didn't think we connected to. So again, I don't know how much time I have, but what I'll say is in that moment, when Stella said, finally, you've made it, not only did I make it, I found out that her father was Willie Wells, the great Negro baseball player from Texas, who was named El Diablo. Back in the day, he has a statue in front of the state capital of Texas, or the capital of Texas, as well as he was the first Black baseball player to be, and shortstop, that was his position, to be archived in, what is it? The Baseball Hall of Fame as a shortstop. He taught Jackie Robinson at Houston Tillotson University, which is the first African-American institution and the first university in Austin, Texas, to open to all races. It wasn't UT. So just remember that one fact. So again, I don't know how much time I have, but I just want to say thank you for just listening to a portion of this story. And I think it's something that we all should share, that telling stories are a great way of sharing our history as well as data stories. Jumping off from the previous person who was talking about AI, I think it's a good tool to use if you know how to use it. And also look at data stories, being able to tell those stories, not just on your website, but in cases such as this. Thank you, Jeanette, so
Thank you
much.
so much, Kimberly.